Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today I'm taking you to the Mega Master League where this trainer is breaking out their level 50 Shundo Mega Charizard Y to try and get some wins and hopefully hard counter some Zacian crown forms. Now these battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, the Manzalorian, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now it goes without saying, as far as the Mega Master League, Mega Charizard Y definitely more of a pick for fun than for climbing, not recommended if you're looking to gain elo, but these battles are an absolute blast. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and in game number 1, target has been acquired, Mega Charizard Y into Zacian. Opponent safe switches into Lugia, Lugia always massively bulky, and that's going to be answered with Dialga. Dialga no shields as it does resist all of Lugia's moves, but Aeroblast not only deals devastating damage, but also gets the 2-stage attack boost. Roar of Time into Lugia is going to land, Lugia will make it to the fly, and Dialga will be forced to go down a shield as a boosted fly would absolutely pick up the knockout. Dialga does exit up a lot of energy, in comes Zacian. Zacian's going to lose almost its entire health bar here from the back-to-back Iron Heads. First Iron Head is going to be shielded, opponent deciding they want a little bit of health on the Zacian. They can get a pretty massive farm down, but the energy is not going to go very far because Mega Charizard Y is a fire flying type, so it's a complete wall to Behemoth Blade and close combat. There's the Behemoth Blade, Charizard is going to make it to the Blast Burn. Does Zacian respect it? They do not, they get KO'd. In the back, oh, this could be trouble. It's Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados beats both Charizard and Palkia, so this is going to be a tricky game. Charizard farming up, switching into the Palkia and catching what should be an Aqua Tail. That is one way to get back in the game. Palkia immediately going to be met with a Crunch from the Gyarados. Crunch does not do a massive amount of damage, but this Dragon Breath hits so hard that Palkia is going to have to shield something. Palkia going to go for an Aqua Tail bait. Opponent calls the bait, but they realize they're simply too low, so they will resign the match. We get same leads in the next match, Charizard into Zacian. Opponent safe switches Lunala, and that's going to be swiftly answered by Palkia. Safe switching Lunala in the Mega Master League is a massive risk because if you get answered with Mega Gyarados, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But considering that the Mega was on the lead, Lunala actually probably proves to be a pretty effective safe swap as long as you've already seen their lead and know that they cannot have a Mega Gyarados lurking in the back. Aqua Tail is going to be shielded up, and Palkia's new pacing. Oh my goodness, another Aqua Tail is reached. This Aqua Tail does get shielded to the opponent, goes down both shields. Palkia shields at the last second, and it is going to be the Moonblast. Can Palkia get the farm down here? Palkia not going to risk it, going for this Aqua Tail, but the opponent is able to make a catch. They catch back onto the Zacian. I love the decision to rebank the Aqua Tail, and now in comes Charizard. Charizard gets the Blast Burn, and this poor Zacian's about to get deleted. Blast Burn lands, picking up the knockout. In the back is Mega Rayquaza. Mega Rayquaza does not have the fastest pacing ever because all of its charge moves are expensive, but this thing outputs some truly terrifying damage. Charizard is going to make it to a second Air Cutter. This Air Cutter is honestly going to get the Rayquaza pretty low. Rayquaza's lost almost 2/3 of its health bar. That's going to be the Breaking Swipe, and that's going to be a knockout. In comes Dialga. Rayquaza farms to the Dragon Ascent just to have a back-breaking catch onto the Palkia, wasting all that energy. Dialga's just going to farm down, and I can't blame the opponent for immediately resigning the match. Charizard into Kyurem in the next match. Safe switch out into Dialga. This Kyurem is on Dragon Breath, and I do think Kyurem White will be on Dragon Breath this season. Because of this new pacing, it can spam out Fusion Flares so quickly. Opponent brings in Palkia. Dialga going for a bait, threatening the Roar of Time, hoping to pull a shield, and does pull the shield. Dialga gonna try and get to the Roar of Time, but the Palkia is gonna be going for the Aqua Tail to get the shield back. Dialga on very low HP makes it to the Roar of Time. Now the opponent has to decide, is it worth their final shield? They say yes, and Palkia will farm down. Now in comes the Palkia into the mirror, but down this much energy, this is gonna be tough. Getting the shield call right on the Spatial Rend. In comes Charizard. Charizard will make it to an Air Cutter, but is Air Cutter going to be enough to knock out here? Air Cutter into the Palkia. No, it doesn't KO. Air Cutter got the boost, but the 1 HP survive from Palkia. Aqua Tail lands, and that is devastating health loss for the Charizard. In the back is Primal Kyogre. Kyogre somehow does not get the farm down before the air cutter is reached, and now it's going to be all up to Palkia to try and take home the win. Palkia will go for the Spatial Rend. The opponent switches and catches onto Kyurem. Kyurem is going to get KO'd there. Back in comes Kyogre. Kyogre, I believe this is only enough for a Thunder. Thunder does do a lot of damage, but importantly, it will not KO. And Kyogre, it's just taken too much damage. It cannot survive this Spatial Rend. Spatial Rend lands. That game looked dire, but it's going to end in a win. Charizard into Florges in the next match. Florges obviously has a pacing advantage in this matchup, and Chilling Water will hit for super effective damage. Nice catch onto Dialga. Dialga going to be debuffed until the switch timer comes up, and out comes Primal Groudon. This to me already feels like a very difficult game to win, because Primal Groudon is so strong into this entire team. Precipice Blades does get shielded, but Dialga's always going to get outpaced, so this is a very safe shield back for the Primal Groudon. Groudon does just that, and this is even Fire Punch range on the Dialga. I'm pretty confident Fire Punch will only hit for neutral, but it will probably KO, and it does. In comes Palkia. Palkia desperately trying to get to the Aqua Tail, but losing charge attack priority to the Groudon. Oh, that is unfortunate. The Groudon baited as well. Oh no, the Groudon was so confident it was going to be shielded. The Groudon gets a successful bait, and it's just all going wrong for the Palkia. Groudon able to make a catch out of this matchup and catching that Aqua Tail onto Florges. Quick switch back into the Charizard. Charizard will be able to take the knockout with the Blast Bird, but I do not want to know how much damage Precipice Blades is going to do to this Charizard. In comes the Primal Groudon. Keep in mind, this is a single resisted Precipice Blades, but Groudon is just absolutely OP. Oh my goodness, that damage. Charizard will go for the Blast Burn. Blast Burn lands, able to get the farm down after. In the back is Palkia. It's a race to the move. Can the Spatial Rend be reached? No, it cannot. The opponent wins charge attack priority. Unfortunately, that's going to be the game as Spatial Rend picks up the knockout. And that is a heartbreaking defeat. Picking up a terrible lead in the next match, Charizard into Gyarados. Charizard going to stay in this matchup to start with, looking to get some chip damage with the air cutter before what I imagine will have to be a switch out. Charizard going to switch into the Palkia, hoping for an Aqua Tail catch, but that catch attempt is unsuccessful. Palkia now under threat from a Crunch, puts up the shield, gets the shield call right, but Crunch gets the debuff. It's only a 20% chance to occur, but now the second Crunch deals devastating damage. There's going to be, oh no, a catch of a Spatial Rend onto Primarina. You could not script a more tragic start to a battle than this. In comes Dialga. It's actually a Waterfall Primarina, which I didn't even put together. Normally, Primarina should be on Charm in this meta. Charizard catches a move aimed at Dialga. It's a Hydro Cannon. And oh my goodness, this is just the most tragic game of Go Battle League I've ever seen. There's unfortunately just no way this is ever going to be a win. Primarina now goes for the Disarming Voice. In comes the Gyarados. And after a game like this, all you can do is just laugh and move on to the next one. Oh my, everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. Dialga puts up the shield. Hopefully that's not going to be a charge attack priority tie. It is not, thank goodness. At the very least, can Dialga see the third? In comes Primarina. It looks like the opponent does not want to reveal the third just yet. Iron Head into Primarina will land. What do they have in the back? Oh, they had a Kyogre in the back. Dialga was well positioned to sweep this game, but unfortunately, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Opponent flexes matchup knowledge, knowing they don't even have to shield the Roar of Time to take the win. Good lead in the next match, Charizard into Zacian. Opponent safe switches into Palkia, but it looks like a bit of a miss-swap from the Manzalorian, as the Manzalorian probably meant to send out Dialga, as Dialga does a great job at shutting down Lugia, but Palkia just takes so much damage from these Dragon Tails. Palkia will put up the shield, respecting the Aeroblast, but Lugia is just gonna go for the fly. Another Aqua Tail has been reached, bluffing the potential Spatial Rend, so hoping to grab a shield from the opponent, and the opponent's not shielding anything. Palkia has already given up one shield, not going to shield again. The fly lands. Can Palkia get the farm down? Thank goodness. Palkia is able to keep switch advantage. This means that the energy Zacian's going to get by farming down this Palkia is not going to go very far. Aqua Tail will land, unfortunately unable to make Aqua Tail number 2. In the back is Palkia. This is a lot tougher of a farm down for Dialga than it has been in seasons past, so the air cutter will be thrown just to make that farm down easier, and now in comes Dialga. The worry would be is if Dialga KOs the Palkia and that the Zacian can get just a massive farm down. Maybe Zacian can get to enough moves to KO the Charizard. So I like the decision to undercharge and then just stop tapping. The opponent throws Aqua Tail, and this is honestly perfect because this means there's so much less health they can farm. Back in comes the Zacian, but now Zacian's gonna have to shield Air Cutters. You don't even have to build up to the Blast Burn in this situation because they have 2 shields. They're taking super effective damage from Ember. They're going to have to shield something. So even the Air Cutter damage is meaningful. Behemoth Blade is going to land. That is big damage. And Charizard is at the back-to-back Air Cutters. Air Cutter number 1 is going to be shielded up, getting the boost as well. Let's go, Charizard. Charizard going for the boosted Air Cutter, KOing Zacian, and getting one final boost to secure the win. Picking up a very bad lead in the next match, Charizard into Gyarados. We've seen this lead matchup, and it's not a fun one. Charizard probably going to try and go for a catch out of this matchup. The opponent shields the first. That's a huge error, and they end up letting the catch happen onto Palkia. So the opponent so far making all the wrong reads. Palkia going to try and make it to a Spatial Rend. The opponent is going to try and go for a catch onto Florges. But this is not a repeat of that previous game where the opponent was able to catch the Spatial Rend onto a Fairy type. This time, Florges is going to be hit with the correct move, which is Aqua Tail. And Florges, I mean, it's down on energy. It is just getting thrashed by these Aqua Tails. Palkia puts up the shield, but they're actually on Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice, obviously much less powerful than Moonblast, but will give Florges a lot better pacing. Florges is just going to let itself get KO'd. In comes Gyarados. Gyarados didn't think it could farm down, so Gyarados will fire off the Crunch pretty instantly. They definitely could have farmed up a lot more and then gone for an Aqua Tail, so in my eyes, a misplay from the opponent. Gyarados already had another Crunch. The speed on this Pokemon is just absolutely electrifying. Dialga puts up the final shield. This means Charizard will be shieldless in the endgame. You really have to hope it's going to be something like Zacian in the back, because that's what Charizard would need to see to take home this win. Ironhead does get no shielded, and unfortunately Dialga cannot get that farm down. Gyarados makes the Aqua Tail that will not KO either. There's the switch in the back. It's going to be Ho-Oh. And Ho-Oh, they're just never going to be shielding a move from the Charizard, as Charizard's Blast Burn, while it does a ton of damage, is not going to be enough. So Ho-Oh saves the shield for when it matters, picks up the knockout with the Brave Bird. In comes Dialga. Dialga makes it to an Iron Head, but Ho-Oh can just shield. The Incinerate lands, and unfortunately that will be a loss. We've got Charizard versus Ho-Oh, the battle of the fire flying types in the next match. Looks like an auto catcher going in the background as well. And Charizard will look to strike first with the Air Cutter. Air Cutter is no shielded. Now going for Air Cutter number 2. If the opponent knows their Ember Charizard counts, they know this can only be an Air Cutter, and they do, so they will no shield. Opponent ends up throwing on Alignment, I guess anticipating the Charizard would go for a 2 and a catch. The opponent, oh, they did get the debuff, so now an Air Cutter won't KO. I like the decision to go for the Blast Burn, trying to punish an O-Shield. Blast Burn lands, but they survive on 1 HP. Oh, that is devastating, as Charizard loses Switch advantage and Shield advantage. Dialga going to be answered with Dialga. The win con is that the opponent's Mega is going to be Primal Kyogre, because Primal Kyogre obviously would not do well into the Palkia. Ironhead, not even building up, hoping the opponent would no shield, but the opponent reads the play and they will put up the shield. Now going to try and commit to this Roar of Time. The opponent just going to go for the Ironhead. Ironhead will not KO. Dialga will still get the Roar of Time. And now, can the final shield be used here, or will the opponent let themselves get KO'd? They put up the shield. In comes Palkia. Palkia desperately needs it to be... Oh, they just don't have a Primal or a Mega Pokemon. They have their own Palkia in the back. Opponent's playing regular Master League. Trainer, this is Mega Masters. Palkia gets one shot. Back in comes the Dialga. Dialga full sends the Roar of Time, and they realize there is just no way out, so they will concede the match. Hopping into the final match, we've got Mega Charizard Y into Florges. Florges obviously going to try and get to the Chilling Water, but Dialga with the catch. This means Dialga is going to be debuffed, but not only does it misalign the timers, but Charizard's able to save quite a bit of energy. Dialga going to try and get to this Roar of Time, unfortunately losing the coin flip CMP tie. Dialga just going to no shield. Opponent baits with the Iron Head, and now Dialga is going to be full sending the Roar of Time. Dialga lands the Roar of Time, and that means that it's actually going to get the farm down, winning Switch advantage. Unfortunately, this team is pretty soft to Florges as a whole, but considering there's a Primal Kyogre in the back, winning switch advantage is this entire game. Because ideally, winning switch would be, you would just put the Charizard back on the Florges. And considering they have a Primal Kyogre in the back, that's a very easy thing to do. In comes the Palkia. Kyogre goes for a Surf. They just want whatever chip damage they can get. And now, as the Palkia, you can basically just always overfarm. Palkia overfarms quite a bit, goes for the Spatial Rend. That's going to connect. That is substantial damage. In comes Florges. Palkia could have just saved this energy and swapped. Although, to be honest, there's no play pattern that will result in a loss from this point. In comes the Charizard, going for the Blast Burn. Blast Burn is going to land. Opponent tries to call a bait. In comes Primal Kyogre. And this is a bit of a role reversal here. Charizard KOing Primal Kyogre to take the win and the 2-shield flex. All in all, these were some very entertaining battles, so many thanks for sending them in. As I mentioned at the start, it goes without saying, Mega Charizard Y is definitely on the list of fun megas rather than a mega that you should use if you're looking to really grind ranks and get your elo up. One thing that I would love to see in future seasons, now that Mega Master League is working, is potentially a Mega Master League with a few select bands. Even if it's the Mega Master League Remix Edition or something like that, where they end up banning a few mons like Gyarados, Primal Kyogre, Primal Groudon, and Mega Rayquaza, then we could have some of these like lower powered megas that are still really cool, but unfortunately are tough to use in a meta environment where Groudon, Kyogre, and Gyarados are so strong. Some of these lesser powered megas could actually shine quite a bit. Like Charizard, for example, does a really nice job of shutting down Zacian. So I've really enjoyed Mega Master League so far. I'm excited we get it twice this season and that it finally works. And for the future, it would be really nice to see, because I know they've done remix metas for quite a few different leagues. Like they've done a Great League remix and Ultra League remix before. So it'd be really interesting to see if we do see a Mega Master League remix in the future, because if we do, then something like this Charizard could end up being an absolute terror. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.